Social Security numbers are a license to work. Admiralty Maritime LawI want to briefly mention the Social Security Act, the nexus agreement you have with the king. You were told the SS hashtag was for retirement, and you had to have it to work. It sounds like a license to me, and it is a license granted by the president to work in this country under the Trading with the Enemy Act, as amended in March 9, 1933, as you will see in a moment. Was it really for your retirement? What does F.I.C.A stand for? Federal Insurance Contribution Act. What does contribution mean at law, not Webster's dictionary? This is where they were able to get you to admit that you were jointly responsible for the national debt, and you declared that you were a 14th Amendment citizen, which I won't go into in this paper, or the Erie Railroad versus Tompkins case where common law was overturned. Read the following definition to learn what it means to have a SS hashtag and pay a contribution. Contribution. Right of one who has discharged a common liability to recover of another also liable, the aliquot portion which he ought to pay or bear. Under principle of contribution, a tortfeasor against whom a judgment is rendered is entitled to recover proportional shares of judgment from other joint tortfeasor whose negligence contributed to the injury and who were also liable to the plaintiff. Note, tortfeasor means wrongdoer. What did you do to be defined as a wrongdoer? The share of a loss payable by an insurer when contracts with two or more insurers cover the same loss. The insurer's share of a loss under a coinsurance or similar provision. The sharing of a loss or payment among several. The act of any one or several of a number of co-debtors, co-sureties, etc., in reimbursing one of their number who has paid the whole debt or suffered the whole liability, each to the extent of his proportionate share. Black's Law Dictionary 6th edition. Guess what? It gets worse. What does this date 1933 mean? Well, you better sit down. First, remember World War I. In 1917, President Wilson declared the War Powers Act of October 6, 1917, basically stating that he was stopping all trade with the enemy except for those he granted a license, excluding Americans. Read the following from this Trading with the Enemy Act, where he defines enemy. In the War Powers Act of 1917, Chapter 106, Section 2, c, it says that these declared war powers did not affect citizens of the United States. Such other individuals or body or class of individuals, as may be natives, citizens, or subjects of any nation with which the United States is at war, other than citizens of the United States, wherever resident or wherever doing business, as the President, if he shall find the safety of the United States of the successful prosecution of the war shall so require, may, by proclamation, include within the term enemy. Now, this leads us up to 1933. Our country was recovering from a depression and now was declared bankrupt. I know you were saying, do what? The American people were never told about this? Public policy and national security overruled the public right to know. Read the following congressional quote. My investigation convinced me that during the last quarter of a century the average production of gold has been falling off considerably. The gold mines of the world are practically exhausted. There is only about $11 billion in gold in the world, with the United States owning a little more than $4 billion. We have more than $100 billion in debts payable in gold of the present weight and fineness. As a practical proposition, these contracts cannot be collected in gold for the obvious reason that the gold supply of the entire world is not sufficient to make payment. Congressional Record, Congressman dies, March 15, 1933.